This has been probably a 3-year venture for me, at least 2 years venture for me, in terms of recognizing that the company needed to upgrade its ERP system. I reached out to Bill, and I also reached out to a couple of other people that I had worked with before that were in positions that had put in ERP systems. And through the course of that, I narrowed it down to 3 firms. The first interaction with the team at Trenegy and Bill, I felt as though the solution was not necessarily part of the first conversation. It was more around doing a lot of relating and discovery around what our true needs were, whereas the other 2 firms went right into, presenting the solution. And what the team really liked about Trenegy's approach was they took the time to understand what our needs were. We had a few different dimensions of companies within a company that we needed to address from a ERP perspective, but really taking the time to relate and do the discovery, I felt set up the best chance for us to win. And when I say win, success looked like a successful implementation with a true business partner. As we kind of entered into those first sets of interactions, I kept waiting for Bill and the team to present a proposal or some form of kind of what the future state would look like, and it was to the point where the other 2 players that were in the I would say the evaluations were ready to move to a contract. Bill was still saying, hey, I need this information. In fact, you should really slow down and let us come in and do an evaluation to give you a really thorough proposal. And the team really liked that. And I felt it was money well spent, which was unique. The other 2 firms did not approach that. And it was something based on my sales experience working in another industry for 35 years. That was pretty much how we approached our business. We were always not necessarily the low-priced provider, but we felt as though if we had a customer, we wanted to develop a customer for life. We took the time to create that relationship and trust with the customer before we even started talking about a solution. The second point that was pretty impressive in terms of the Trenegy and experience, I'd call it, would be the team, the engagement, and coming in, established really good relationships throughout the organization, very versatile in terms of talking from the interface of where business is done in terms of the service and the product build perspective from the floor, I would say, or the boat all the way to the executive level. That versatility and their ability to relate and create relationships throughout the organization to the point where not only did they have an impact on understanding our business, but I would say the intrinsic value was that they brought a cool set of eyes and helped through the process of understanding our business, help people transact better. This ERP migration is really more about, it's got a couple of different dimensions. When I talk about the dimension of we're taking 2 companies and basically kind of beginning to merge some of the back office functions in that, it would take someone pretty special to take the way we do things and the way our sister company or affiliate company does things and bring them together and harmonize. I'd say, one of the things that Trenegy has brought to the room is effectively the ability to kind of help harmonize our 2 companies together, in terms of being to create a safe space and facilitate and bring objective, I would say, correspondence or objective advice and counseling around how we harmonize these 2 companies, because we're both proud about the industries we serve, and effectively it's not a merger, but it's taking, I would say, some calls out of that playbook and applying them to be able to help us become better together. We live in a world where people have out-of-the-box systems that probably can address 90% of your solution set that you need. However, to take full advantage of what you need from any one of the providers of those box sets, having a company like Trenegy helps you to align with your solution set and have I would say, an effective adaptation of something off the shelf if you will, to your business. It's not as apparent as it seems. I mean, there's a learning curve there. There's an opportunity to match the right solution and nuances of the solution to your business. And Trenegy has a really good process. I felt as though to incorporate the engagement you need from your company beforehand to ensure that you have the right solution at the end of the project. Getting through one of these ERP conversions is tough from a management of change perspective. And the fact that they can foresee hurdles in your organization with people, with processes, with workflows, whatever, corporate jargon you want to use, in terms of how you transact business, they have a good feel for that, and they see it coming before it gets here. And that, for me, is the true value in terms of kind of preempting some of the change management issues. Obviously, there's a lot of, I would say, caring concern around ensuring that the solution set you're going to get matches up to the employee experience. And one of the things I've seen that Bill and the team has done is really kind of take that into consideration. Again, I'd like to hit on maybe a little bit more of the intrinsic value of the process. And that is really around, the tools that have been provided, the method at which, the team has engaged with, the process. We felt, informed, and the confidence that, I would say the executive team has with Trenegy in that role is probably the best I've seen. And I've done several of these with much bigger firms. The amount of interaction and I would say interpersonal involvement that you have with the team has been much more impressive, where everyone kind of feels like Trenegy is part of this business, and they've got your back, and more importantly, they're going to let you know a problem before the problem occurs.